Mario Cristobal's arrival at Miami has ensured that the hype surrounding the program has returned. There's a lot of excitement surrounding the Miami Hurricanes, and for good reason. When you look at what Cristobal has been doing, especially in the transfer portal, you're looking at a team that has some serious ability and some serious talent. It just comes down to whether or not they're able to put that all together. Now, some of these players on this list are considered top 10 players. It just comes down to, are they able to live up to that potential? It was tough to make this list. It's tough to put 10 players in, especially with the amount of talent coming in. And we'll talk about some of the guys that we didn't list. It doesn't mean that they're not a top 10 player. It just means that maybe other guys have a bigger impact on the team, especially with some of the positions that Miami needs to see fulfilled. Quarterback remains a topic of conversation for Miami's program and probably will forever. This is a team that has a ton of talent that they expect to be really good at the position, and we just haven't seen them follow through. Tyler Van Dyke kind of broke that streak last year, and now people have even higher expectations for him. After throwing 25 touchdowns to just 6 interceptions, he makes a lot of nice throws that really catch your eye and have you excited for what this team could be. Now, that being said, like I said before, you have to be able to prove that you can handle that kind of pressure. And Tyler Van Dyke has a lot of hype to live up to, but I think when you're looking at it, he's a guy who can handle that. He's a player that is just going to go out and do his job. He's not going to try to live up to other people's expectations. He's going to make his own. He's going to make his own goals and live up to those instead. Jalen Knighton finally gets his chance to be the guy for Miami. Now, don't get me wrong, this backfield is still plenty talented and plenty loaded, where he still has to prove that he belongs on the field, but he's shown that he's capable of making big plays. That includes as a running back and as a pass catcher. You look at last year, 561 yards, only 3.9 yards per carry. I wish that could be a little bit better, but 8 touchdowns. Then you look as a pass catcher, only 20 catches, but 280 yards, 14 yards per carry or per catch, and 3 touchdowns. He is a guy who's a home run threat, when healthy and when he's consistent. And now that he has a chance to get more touches, this is going to be really exciting for him. You look at what Josh Gaddis did at Michigan. You look kind of what Blake Corum did and Hassan Haskins did. Knighton's a little bit different than both of them, but I think you should be excited when you look at his skill set compared to the guys that Gaddis worked with last year, because that could be an even more explosive option at Miami, which is exactly what they need. Tyree Stevenson, the former Georgia transfer, comes into Miami and honestly just figured out a way to be one of the better corners in the entire country. 43 tackles, 2.5 tackles for loss, 4 passes defended, 1 interception. I really like his game. He plays the game with a ton of confidence. He knows that he's going to be the best, and he tries to prove that on every play. It doesn't matter who he's facing. And that's something that when you look at Miami, you expect that kind of attitude. And that defense does get a lot of transfers, but not a ton in the secondary because they have guys like Stevenson back. I think his attitude is going to be infectious when you're looking at the entire secondary, and someone that's going to play a big role and maybe even take another step forward in 2022. Henry Parish is going to play a huge role for this offense, and I did a film breakdown about what he brings to Miami's new scheme and what he brings to Josh Gaddis' system. And if you haven't checked that out, make sure you check it out. I'll leave a link here for it. Henry Parish was a dominant player as a third string running back for Ole Miss. Now he comes in to be a potential starter, even the second guy, a rotation player with Jalen Knighton. And you look at, like I said, they have the talent, so he has a lot to compete for. But if you look at what Blake Corum did for Michigan, this is what I think Henry Parish is going to be for Miami. They have similar skill set. They're going to bring a certain versatility and dynamic play to this offense, and I really like what they're capable of doing. I really like what Parish brings to this system, and I think this offense, while the passing attack does need to take a step forward, having backs like Knighton and Parish make life a lot easier, especially if there's pressure coming up the middle, and Tyler Van Dyke can hit them when needed. Mitchell Gude comes from UCLA, and again, this is one of, you could have put Akeem Mesidor here too from West Virginia. Caleb Johnson, Gude's teammate, is coming in as well. There's so many options to pick, but I'm going with the Gude here. I thought he was going to stay at UCLA, but he comes to Miami, and this defense got an influx of talent, especially in the front seven. 55 tackles last year, 6.5 tackles for loss, 2 sacks for Gude, for their new defensive end. I think that even if he doesn't start, he's going to be an impactful rotation player, and I think that with this defensive line needing to take a step forward, having a guy like him will be a huge addition for this program. Will Mallory is one of the best tight ends in the entire country. He just needs to stay healthy. He was out in the spring game, so again, needs to stay healthy. If he is healthy, this is a good team. This is a good passing attack. Tyler Van Dyke has a reliable pass catcher that he can hit. Injuries, like I said, limited him last year to 30 catches, 347 yards, 4 touchdowns. I think that he can do a lot better if he's on the field and playing at 100% the entire season. And that's going to help his passing attack because while he's capable of making big plays, but I think he's more of that pass catcher that you need to be more reliable than anything because they have explosive playmakers, but can they be consistent? It doesn't matter if you have home run hitters, especially when you look at what this team did last year. You look at even in the spring, there's some struggles at the pass catching area, and they need to step forward. Will Mallory can definitely help in that regard. James Williams is a huge safety. I really like what he brings to Miami's defense, and I think that he and Stevenson are going to be dynamic and exciting to watch on that side of the ball. It's a group that's got potential. They have the talent to be really, really good. It just comes down to, again, consistency. Consistency is going to be the key for Miami. If they're able to play at that high level, if they're able to take a step forward, then life's going to be pretty good. But if they can't find that consistency, then you're going to have a tough time beating teams like Clemson, NC State, Wake Forest, those kind of things. And, Mario Cristobal brings in a new attitude, and I think that you're got the right guys in the position to play. It just comes down to, like I said, consistency and playing at a level that you're supposed to. Zion Nelson is a guy who has been getting a lot of NFL attention for the last couple years, and now he gets a chance to prove exactly why. This offense has the playmakers at the skill positions, and if the offensive line is going to be as good as advertised, then you're looking at an extremely talented and extremely exciting offense that Josh Gaddis is going to love coaching because they have the talent to be there, and if they live up to that potential, this is going to be one of the best offenses in college football. Leonard Taylor kind of flies under the radar at defensive tackle for Miami, but he is a consistent force for this Hurricanes defense. 8.5 tackles for loss pretty much shows you what he's capable of doing. He is capable of making life difficult for the opposing team and living in the opposing backfield. And he, again, another player that brings the right attitude and will bring the leadership that Mario Cristobal wants for this defense. Final position was kind of hard. You could put Frank Ladson, the Clemson transfer, but Xavier Restrepo is going to be, I think, if this offense is going to take a step forward, I think Xavier Restrepo is going to be one of the best slot players that we see in the entire country. You saw in the spring game what he's capable of doing, even some of his plays last year. This is a guy who is attention to detail and an ultra competitor. He wants to win every single snap. He wants to win every single game. He's going to do what he needs to do. And with Tyler Van Dyke needing guys to step up, while he could be that explosive playmaker, he's also going to be a guy that when it comes down to it, 3rd and short, 4th and short, something, you need a guy to make a play. Xavier Restrepo is going to be someone that they look for. This team is so talented, it's going to be hard to see them struggle if they do. But if they're able to put things together, which I think there's a ton of potential, the ceiling is definitely up there. This is a Miami team that is going to bring back the excitement to this program, excitement to the fan base, and be able to be a team that can compete for an ACC championship.